All right, yo, what's up, guys? Bajheera here. Let's get down to business. We have been making some gains, having some fun in Diablo Immortal. I think the last time we left off, we were sort of developing the beginning of this sort of tankier, CC-focused bruiser brawler build, and we were free to play at that point, which is cool. Had a blast with the free-to-play route. Spent about 2 weeks kind of getting a feel for the game, getting an idea of whether I enjoyed it or not. And it became apparent to me that I definitely did. That being the case, I decided to invest in my character a little bit, which has expanded our options in terms of our gem choices and whatnot. So I think if you're going the free-to-play route, things that I mentioned in my sort of first whale hunter guide, I think are still really what I'd be doing. But since we have a little bit more options now with the gem choices, we can update that a little bit. I think just from my initial experience of free-to-play versus moderate spending, $500 is a lot for a video game in my opinion, but I feel comfortable with it. It's in my entertainment budget. All good. I'm using it for my work, I'm using it for my content. It's fine, so don't worry. But I think the main distinction between free-to-play and sort of paid is your ability to interact with the legendary gems. If you're free-to-play, I think 1 to 2 star gems are probably going to be your best bet. Upgrade those slowly by farming like stat gems and selling those for plat. Using the skill stones, selling those for plat is good too. I can make probably a separate video about that. And then slowly over time, using your embers that you get from Elder Rifts to roll random legendary gems, and hopefully that you get a good one, you can sell that for plat, and then all the platinum that you get from those gems you can use to buy food for your baby gems and level those up slowly over time using your Ati runes and your other runes that you get from running your rare crests to craft the 1 and 2 star gems that you need specifically for food. Like whenever you need gem power and a certain gem to level up that certain gem, you can get those from those. So that's pretty much the free-to-play route, and it's the route that if you're not just going to constantly spend to get more gems that you need to follow anyway. That being taken into consideration, let's see where my guy is at. So starting with the gear, like I was saying, for everybody, I think that getting your Paragon level up and your gear is really not limited by free to play or pay to power up at all. But having strong legendary gems does give you more resonance, gives you more CR, which allows you to push higher content, but you're not really limited by that at all. The main thing is just the legendary gems for free to play versus pay to power up. Here is where we are at. I think I've made some changes, so rather than trying to compare everything, I think we'll see where we're at right now. So what we have here is some pretty nice gear. I've got a triple stat helmet, second breath. We finally got this one to drop. We did get a lot of the things to drop that I was interested in. This is the helmet that gives you a 30% increased sprint duration. So you're running around unslowable, being a nuisance back there. This one also happens to increase my skill damage by 3%, and all my damage pretty much, well, not all of it. I do auto attack a little bit with lacerate, but a lot of my damage is skill damage with whirlwind and whatnot and charge. So, but it also increased my primary attack damage, so we're bonking people with those lacerates. And 6% damage is huge. One of my buddies, Ender, has been doing the calculations a little bit. Massive difference, just in percent damage. No surprise there. We've got the Battle Guard at rank 5, which gives me good resonance, a little bit of combat rating, and it decreases all melee damage you take by 13.5 from enemies within 3 yards. So about half the people that you fight in BGs, or at least half the class in the game, are melee, right? So this is going to help you be tanky against barbarians, against monks, against crusaders, people who are going to be frontlining as you are as a barbarian. It doesn't really help you that much against the casters that you're diving, but I really do think that having a little bit of tankiness is helpful. And it's a 2-star gem, so it's not going to break the bank. Getting a 2-star gem to rank 5 is not impossible, but it is pretty nice to wear a 2-star gem to get a little bit of resonance. If we were going crazy and if we were going to really increase our budget, then maybe we could go higher with this gem, but that's where we're at right now. I do like the fact that it gives me a little bit of magic find, helps me farm up legendaries and set items a little bit more easily. At least that's what I like to imagine. We do have attack speed increased by 2% on the reroll, so another reason to do PvP is you get those reroll tokens at the end of the season, especially if you get the legend. I think gold gives you like 30, legend gives you like 80. We'll flex a little bit. I am currently the rank 1 barbarian on my server. Pretty cool. Actually, even the highest rated player last night as I finished my push. Push is just playing the game. I think that I'm just highest rated because I'm playing the game a lot. Like I'm playing BGs a lot. I don't think the game really starts for PvP until you hit legend rank, basically. So if you guys want to do PvP, just queue up. You pretty much will gain rating forever anyway, until you get to legend, in which case, then you might start to lose rating when you lose, but for a long time, like even if you lose, you can still gain rating, so it's kind of fun. But yeah, PvP is a lot of fun. It's pretty much my main focus in the game too, so that's what we're doing. Now this next gem is very exciting. My chest piece itself is okay. It's only a 2-stat. It does give me max life, which is cool. Now this situation is where things got a little interesting. So you'll see that I invested 500 total that was pretty much buying a bunch of bundles. All the bundles in the game, pretty much. Well, not every single bundle, but a lot of them. Like the one-time bundles and stuff like that you get for progression. That's what I ended up picking up. And those give you a couple bound crests. And bound crests, when they drop gems, you can't sell them. So in one of those, a 3-star Blood-Soaked Jade dropped. And that is something that I would probably usually just sell. I'm like, I'm not going to spend a bunch of money in the game. Like, not a bunch. I'm probably going to sell that, use the platinum, finance other gems. But since it dropped bound, I'm like, well, I guess I'm using it. And if I'm using it, I guess I'm going to upgrade it one time. Because all it takes is gem juice to upgrade it. After upgrading it, the next day, we ran some unbound crests. And another 2-star Blood-Soaked Jade dropped. And I was like, okay. So I could sell that for like 64k plat. But what am I going to finance? All my other gems are actually pretty okay. I'll show you in a second. So I decided to use it to get it to rank 3. Then 2 other 2 out of 5-star gems dropped that if they both sell could finance another Blood-Soaked Jade. So I get this thing to rank 4, which is kind of nutty. So we're still waiting on that. We've sold one of the gems. One of them still working on selling right now. This guy. I probably need to drop the price a little bit. The Echoing Shade. We could probably drop it a little bit. One Blood-Soaked Jade is already for sale. We're not going to be able to get that. We don't have the plat. But hopefully a couple more of these will come up on sale. And we can pick one of those up for like max price for a 2 out of 5-star. But yeah, so we have a Blood-Soaked Jade, which is like the best gem in the game. Gives me 230 res, 56 combat rating, increases all damage you deal up to 10.5%, and your movement speed by 10%, with less damage bonus at lower life down. So if I'm low life, then it still gives me 5% extra damage. But the huge thing is the movement speed, and of course just like the massive resonance and combat rating, which is always nice. But, which is good for my build, you also take 2% less damage while below 50% life. So that kind of helps with my build. Once again, for the actual chest piece, we're using the Gathering. That's the thing where when I whirlwind, it pulls people in. And you'll see in a second, I use the big whirlwind still. I did get the freezy whirlwind. It's really cool, but it's a very short range, and the freeze doesn't last very long. So I think that big whirlwind just brings more utility. But the Freezy Whirlwind is pretty cool. Maybe in like duels, if you were dueling, you'd use Freezy Whirlwind. Max life increase by 1% is just where it's at right now. Probably will re-roll that at some point. But yeah, the Gathering is the big thing with this chest piece. The Blood-Soaked Jade was some kind of pretty lucky stuff. Not like, I don't think I've gotten insanely lucky, but like that's pretty good. Here we've got, I think I actually had this as damage, but I think I just like went to the armory and activated my set, and this is just still what the set was. But anyway, these shoulders are okay. The stats themselves are just kind of like where my gear is at, but the legendary power is what you need to pay attention to. These do have crit on them, which is pretty fun. So Power and Command is another 2-star gem. This is another one that I got for like when I was doing the free-to-play route. It dropped out of one of my crest runs that I got from War, which is really lucky. So Power and Command is a very good gem. They are relatively expensive on the market, but you can craft them yourself with the Ati runes. So that's pretty good. It's a good one to get, once again, just because it's leveled up to 5. It gives me some resonance, some combat rating. But what it does, the active like component of it is, it alternates between Power and Command. So during the power stage, your primary attack damage is increased by 13.5 or whatever it's leveled up to. And then Command increases all other skill damage by the same amount. And then if you've ranked up the gem enough to like rank 3, I believe, whenever the states alternate, it starts to have a chance to dispel a harmful effect, like bleeds. So that's pretty cool. I do wonder if it dispels like CC from you too. That'd be kind of cool. Also, I like the fact that we were able to get these gems to rank 5 for the magic find. Same sort of thing. But yeah, these shoulders, these are one of the 2 shoulders I recommend. Either use the sprint dodge shoulders or use the whirlwind damage shoulders. I kind of like the whirlwind damage shoulders. And I'm even considering going to the whirlwind damage like 2-piece, like do a 2-piece shield, 2-piece whirlwind, or 2-piece shield, 2-piece buff duration, but we'll see. We'll play around with that. It also gives me skill damage. This is the reroll, the bonus reroll. So pretty cool shoulders. For the legs, these are some big booty legs. Triple statters, vitality, strength are 2 of the stats, which is always good. Fortitude's nice. Just reduces damage taken and increases buff duration. Now Fervent Fang. This is a gem that came from the Battle Pass. So if you just get the upgraded Battle Pass, you can get a Fervent Fang. And I'm pretty sure that if you buy the upgraded Battle Pass, if you have the gem juice, you can get your Fervent Fang to rank 4. And then if you buy the Boon of Plenty and log in throughout the time, you'll be able to get a rank 5 Fervent Fang, I'm pretty sure. So I'm excited about that. Since I started free to play, I'm like 2 weeks behind on like my login rewards or whatever, but we'll get there eventually. This is a game that is designed to be played over a long period of time, so... Time is your ally. If you don't get impatient, then it's all good. This is like a stacking damage thing, which is kind of nice. So it'll, especially with Whirlwind, because Whirlwind deals damage pretty quickly, it'll go and then you can stack up your damage like 13.5% on somebody with Whirlwinds after a while if you can stick to them, which is pretty cool. It will do more damage to elites, which is not really that important for PvP, and it'll give me more magic find. Once again, not important for PvP, but kind of cool for PvE. The main thing about a gem like this is it's a relatively inexpensive way to get some more resonance. So once we get that rank 5, it'll have 150 res. That's nice. The big resonance comes from the big gems, but once again, we're not trying to go too crazy on the expenditures quite just yet. So there's that. And when I say expensive, I do mean either in-game for platinum and the amount of gems and gem juice required, but because those things are inextricably tied up with money, it's also inexpensive, you know, IRL cash-wise. But yeah, that's where we're at with this. Check out this freaking weapon that dropped yesterday. Holy crap. Triple stat, 50 plus on the whole thing. My goodness, this is like one of my most recent finds. It does damage to beast, which is like whatever, but it's also critical strike increased and critical damage. I know that I have this thing in the back that's kind of blocking it for you guys. Sorry about that, but this is what we're at. This is one of those things we were able to make happen because of our bundles and stuff. Is we had enough, we ran those rifts, we had enough gem juice to level up one of our 1-star gems, which we use for whirlwinding, to rank 10, so we were able to awaken an item, which is why it's kind of purplish. Once you get a gem to rank 10, you take it to the gem dude and you unlock gem resonance, which it lets you awaken a thing. So you'll see here it sort of enhances the weapon's legendary power. So whirlwind energy is consumed 10% slower, and I could do that on 2 pieces. You could do this on, you could awaken every piece of gear if you wanted to, but it's only going to have its awakened effect when this like gear slot actually has a 10-star gem in it. 10-star rank 10 gem is what I mean. And it has 151 resonance because you can actually put gems inside your gems. This is where the Omega Whale comes in. Like each, I think a 5-star gem can like put like 5 gems in or something insane like that. So like your gem will have like other max rank like 10, like rank 10 gems in it. So it can get insane. People get like, you know, there's my boy JT, who has spent, you know, like probably like $100,000 in this game. He's a streamer. Has like 7,000 plus resonance because it's he's got like gems and gems and gems and all that stuff. It's kind of nuts how deep the system can go. But you don't need to worry about that. I'm not worried about that right now. I did kind of get silly and put 1 gem inside for 151 resonance. I might take it out though. I don't know if I like the number as much. It doesn't look as clean of a number. But anyway, this is kind of like a must-have gem for a whirlwind build. You have a little bit of combat rating, a little bit of res, but your channeled skills consume energy slower, and you take less damage while using them. So anybody who's channeling skills, like I don't know if a wizard would want this for the disintegrate, but anyway, it lets you channel it for longer, gives you a little bit of magic find once it gets rank 5, and like I was saying, we use the wide radius whirlwind to pull people in, and because we awakened it, it does consume whirlwind energy a little bit slower. My offhand has a Blessing of the Worthy in it. Blessing of the Worthy is a gem that you can get for, there's like 3 different packs. Not right now, no thanks. There's like 3 different packs that you can get, and if you buy them all, then you can upgrade your Blessing of the Worthy, which is a 3-star gem, to rank 4, which gives you 320 res. So this is what I'm looking forward to for Blood Soaked. Blood Soaked will go from 230 to 320 res, which is pretty sick. More combat rating. When you take damage, you have a 20% chance to explode and deal a bunch of damage. I mean, I get kills with this thing in PvP. It's pretty funny. 17% of your current life and decreasing all damage you take by 4% for 6 seconds. So the fact that it's your current life means that if you have low life, it's going to deal less damage. But once again, still just a beefy gem for the resonance. And the fact that if you do go into battle early on, then you can just pop people with a lot of extra damage. And it also has a decreased damage component, which is good because I'm trying to be kind of tanky and lean into the CC. Which, by the way, is my recommendation for people who are trying to play free-to-play. The more free-to-play you are, the more you should be focusing on your CC. If you were going to go Giga Whale and you can contend with, you know, big damage, then use that big damage and carry your team with it. But if you're not doing that, then you should focus on CC to peel for your team and CC the enemy team, obviously, and set up your whales. So try to neutralize the enemy team's whales and try to set up yours, if that's how it works. But anyway, CC is always your ally in a PvP. So if you're wondering how to be effective free-to-play, lean into your CC more. And lean into, for me, I'm leaning into tankiness more, so I can just be in the battle. But this is pretty cool, though. That rank 5, we get Magic Find, but we also take 8% decreased damage after the proc. So that's huge. This would be such a big upgrade. Upgrading a Blessing of the Worthy is going to take an immense amount of like gem juice and gem power, basically. Like, it's like you need like 5 Blessing of the Worthy gems, and it's just like not happening for me right now. So the one thing I don't love about this setup is that I'm not really using the offhand at all. That's kind of weakness of the build, is you're actually not getting any benefit from your offhand. Now, I'll go over the skills. You could use Wrath of the Berserker, and I have before. I just don't like it as much as my setup. This is nice for PvE, and it's nice if you want to use Wrath of the Berserker for PvP. I know this video is taking a long time already, but hey, you're in a theory crafting video with me. Sometimes we gotta do some talking. Charms are a scam. I have lacerate damage on there. I don't think I'm ever gonna invest in a charm, but that's it. I usually just using charms to make money, like to sell them for plat. But my set pieces, so that's all my stuff right there. And I think I have skill damage on this one, right? Oh no, we have the primary attacks have a chance to reduce enemy attack movement speeds. This one is skill damage. So we have skill damage on a lot of these guys. I could do a better job re-rolling these, but a lot of skill damage is kind of what I'm looking for here. So what I'm using for my set pieces are the 4-piece shield set, because proccing a shield in PvP, I mean, no brainer. Keeps you alive. The shield doesn't last that long, but it can soak a lot of damage, a lot of burst. It's nice. For my gems, I'm kind of just using whatever I've got. I think ideally, I'd like damage still. You can put in like plus life if you wanted to really lean into the tankiness. I mean, plus damage, like you still want to scale damage with this build. Like you still want to do damage and you still want to be able to CC people. So some potency and some damage is fine. But a lot of times you'll see me going, you know, for like resistance would probably be better. But like I said, I just have these gems, so I'm going to use whatever gives me the most stats. So that's how it is. The rings are really not very good. I'm just using the rings because they give me the most stats. Really nothing to speak on there. Not very exciting. But yeah, the Mount Banks shield set is very nice. And I do think that resistance is probably better than potency. And I think that damage is better than life. And I think that armor may be better than armor pen, but I think I'm actually going for more armor pen because you still want to, like I said, you still want to scale damage. But yeah, the Mount Bank set, there is a, maybe I'll drop a link in the description, but if you go to Max Roll and you go to their set items guide, it'll show you where certain items in certain sets drop. So like Hell 1 drops belt and boots for all the dungeons. Hell 2 adds gloves and neck pieces to the drop table, but Hell 2 can drop everything that it drops from Hell 1 too. And then Hell 4 adds both rings to the drop table, but does the same thing. So you got to check out that guide. So what I'm saying here is that the 4 set gives me 33% of my max life and lets you move through enemies unhindered, which is pretty good. I do wonder if I should probably put on like the buff duration or the whirlwind, like the channel damage set. I think that'd be kind of fun. And that's definitely what I'll consider at once we get to the 6 set possibilities. I might do 2 set of either buff duration or whirlwind damage and 4 set Mount Banks, or I could do 2-2-2 with all of them. I mean, or you could mix and match. I think the buff duration one at 4 is probably pretty good too, because it gives you attack speed every time you get a buff, which is a lot. So like you'll get a buff whenever you press sprint, you'll get a buff whenever you proc Undying Rage, and you get a buff whenever you press Wrath of Berserker. All of that would be a great way to increase your attack speed, but a big shield is really good. I think the whirlwind set could also be good at 4 set, but basically, those are the big ones for me, for this build. Now you can play other builds than Whirlwind where you would want like, you know, extra CC duration, so you can like slam people with like triple cleave in a stun or a knock-up, something like that. But this is what I'm rocking with right now. The shield set is just solid, just really good. The items themselves are nothing really super fancy. The one thing that was cool is potion cooldown decreased is like, that may affect my bandage, but it's not that big of a deal. Maximum life increase is nice, and damage onto players is nice too. But those are just are what they are right now. So that puts me at a grand total of 1903 combat rating, and 1121 resonance. I have like 13% crit. Those are some pretty cool stats. But that kind of stuff is going to change. I think the build itself is mostly focused on like legendary powers, set items. And then I'll go into my skills in a second, but the gems we'll sort of have to mix and match. These gems, I would say, are still like $500 is a fair amount of money to spend on a video game, like I said, but this is fairly budget when it comes to what people do spend on the game. You're gonna be fighting people with like thousands of resonance, but if you're focused on CC and tankiness and play sharp, play with your team, enable your team, then it can still be effective. Let's see. Let's go into them skills now. My skills my preferred skills are gonna be charge, with the Merciless Assault Pants for the knock-up. Takes away one of your charges of charge, but the knock-up is very good. If you play League of Legends, it's like a Malphite ult on a 9-second cooldown. It's kind of insane. Sprint, very, very nice. I have Sprint giving me 30% increased from my helmet, and sometimes you can have the dodge chance. If you want to lean into the tankiness, go for the dodge. If you want to do a little more damage, take the whirlwind damage. It's nice to run fast. It helps you get around the map, obviously. You can run into battle, you can run away from battle a lot, which is great. But the biggest thing is movement impairing effects are removed, which is super nice. So you can't get slowed. You can get CC'd, but you can't be slowed. So, like I said, there's a lot of times where I'm running out of battle at 1 HP, my shield procs, it saves my cheat death. Both my cheat deaths, I'll talk about in a second. It's super nice. Whirlwind is gonna be your like main sort of damage, but also your main CC. Because you've got it doing a little bit of damage, you are moving very slow. However, you have a big old wide radius on it. You have the pull, right? The pull is the big thing. because like you can just like auto attack, and it's like basically like you know, an AoE vortex then you can knock people up with your charge. It's crazy. You can do so much work with this combo, and you can do like chop chop with lacerate, and then they try to get away, you pull them back in. You know, so it's you just have a lot of control on a 0.5 second cooldown, right? Like, it's pretty insane. There is a cooldown on how often they can be pulled, but it's not that long. It'd be nice if it was shorter, but it's not that long. And this is probably the most busted thing about a Barbarian's toolkit. Every class in the game has something that's crazy about it. Like, you know, wizards have black hole, necromancers have their totem knock up, and things that, and like maybe even their little ghost form or whatever, and their knock up CC. Every class something crazy. I think this is probably the craziest thing about Barbarian. The thing that makes them special is that you, upon taking fatal damage or upon activating this thing, you can't die for a certain amount of time, and you also heal for 30% of the damage done. So there have been times where I'm like, you know, 5v1. I'm getting CC'd. I proc my Undying Rage because I would have died. I come out of the CC, charge, boom, I hit everybody, and I heal for 30% of that damage. Charge, boom, hit him again. Whirlwind, and I can like heal to full health. There's like one clip I've got of just like 5v1 doing that combo in a corner and like killing 3 people. And this is not like Giga Whale OP, like, yeah, you just paid tens of thousands of dollars one shot everybody. It's like you just heal and like battle your way out. It has crazy possibilities, but it also just saves your life a lot of times. So it allows you to escape the battle, go back and heal, and come back in, so you can still be part of the battle. You pull people off the point. It's just annoying when somebody doesn't die in PvP, right? And that's what you're doing. I actually play Lacerate with this build. I like the attack animation of Lacerate. I think it looks cool. You're not often going to get 3 attacks off, but if you do get 3 attacks off, that third one really chunks, and it heals you a little bit. For whatever reason, I feel like Lacerate has better attack range. I don't know. I just like Lacerate, and I also like the ultimate. But if you want to play Frenzy, it's probably better. I don't know. It's fine. I just think Lacerate's cool. That's my skill setup with my legendary powers and stuff. Another thing that's amazing is once you hit level 50 Paragon, you can go into the gladiator tree. Now, before I was playing Survivor, I really liked the damage reduction. I decided to go for the sprint because it only takes 10 armor to progress your tree at that point. The block is actually probably really, really good, but I like the idea of the sprint because I also... Indestructible, by the way, does not work for PvP, so me doing this is mostly just about going 10 armor into Escape Artist rather than going 20 armor into Stalwart. Honestly, Stalwart might be better. I ended up using Escape Artist because I thought it could be offensive or defensive. Stalwart might be better, so just keep that in mind. But I really like the Unyielding. These two are both cool. Like, you know, upon getting low life, it gives you an effect, either movement speed or block. Then you get some more life. Then you get the cooldown reduction. And then you start scaling damage. This one, don't really grab this one, doesn't work in PvP, just so you know. But after hitting 50, I went in the gladiator tree. Gladiator tree is nuts. Allows you to get some armor pen, allows you to become immune. So it's unclear to me if I'm actually, like, maybe I'm not paying attention. I don't know if I'm like immune to damage or immune to other CCs for 3 seconds or something like that. But when struck by an effect which causes loss of control, you are immune. I think what it actually means is that you immune a CC, by the way. I think that's what actually happens. Is something that would have CC'd you doesn't. Like, kind of like Holy Ward in WoW, something like that. That's what I think it actually is. Then you go up in here to life. Then I decided to just go ahead and reduce the effect of CC on me by 10%. You could also take this 3-minute cooldown that makes it so that you lay traps behind you. I think if you're a class that runs away a lot, you might want to take this. Most of the time I'm running into PvP, so that's kind of what I'm doing. I'm usually running in. So I just take the reduce CC duration. Then you get some resistance. Then you go into life. You could go down here, but you definitely want to grab this, the cheat death. This thing is probably the most OP thing about this whole tree. When a player's attack brings down to 1 life, it makes you immune to stuns for 3 seconds. During those 3 seconds, you're just like sitting there like healing, and then you bust out, and you have 60% of your life, and you can fight again. And it cannot occur more often than once every 120 seconds, but 2 minutes is not very long, especially when you have your 30-second cheat death. Some people play with Phoenix. I don't have a Phoenix gem. Like I said, it's like a little bit too expensive for me to want to scale it, but maybe eventually it's something I can move into over time, because then you have like 3 cheat deaths, and you could get a cheat death chance on your gear too, by the way. So that's a magical affix. So you could have like 4 death prevention mechanics in PvP, which would be insane, because sometimes it's just outlasting, right? Let your team kill everybody while you're tanking. Pretty nuts. Eventually, I'd probably like to go down here for rapid recovery. I just don't have 21 points, so I'm just saying, well, if I can't get rapid recovery, I'd rather just scale my damage. So I'm adding points into damage right now too. But this is the path that I recommend, or that I'm enjoying for PvP right now. The gladiator tree is insane. So once you get to 50, and if your focus is PvP, go ahead and do it. I love PvP. It's like why I'm playing the game. And so like I could scale treasure hunter for like more XP and more loot, but why am I even doing that? I'm doing it to get stronger in PvP, so may as well just do the thing that guaranteed makes you stronger in PvP. So that's what I did. So I know we've been talking a lot. I know it's kind of a long video. These sort of guide build update videos can take a second for me because I love games like this where it's like theory crafting and min-maxing and whatnot. And even though this is a mobile game, and so like the min-maxing is a little bit bite-sized, I guess, I feel like it has an actual tremendous amount of depth in terms of your legendary powers that you can choose between, the set items that you can choose between, the rerolls that you do on your gear, the stats that you can have on your gear, your legendary gems, obviously, your stat gem choices, your Paragon choices, your skill choices. Like, all of this adds up into something that's a pretty awesome and deep system. My deep hope is that eventually it doesn't require you to put money into it to fully interact with all these systems, right? I would love it if people could become powerful without having to dump money into the game. I'm comfortable putting some money into the game because it's something I do for enjoyment, something I do for my work. I feel okay about it, but I just wish it wasn't the only way to really make meaningful progress with any kind of meaningful, time, right? Hopefully over time it'll become more free-to-play friendly. My number one recommendation to make the game more free-to-play friendly is immediately remove the ember cap so people can run rifts all day if they want to, get embers, get fog runes, maybe roll 1 or 2 gems per day and see if they can get something that's useful to them. If not, they can sell it on the market. Most times it's not going to be that good. Sometimes it's going to be really good, which will populate the market with plenty of gems without people having to spend money and stimulate the economy. Let people, sell good gems, get plat, buy gems to upgrade their gear at the budget that they want to for their time invested. I know that might make the game a teeny bit more money because people aren't really being like crunched into having to spend, but I think that will bring in more players. It'll make the game a more real game. It'll sort of have the game be, again, people play to have fun, and it's not just sort of like you have to pay to play, right? Which the free-to-play experience is good. It is fun. I liked it, but not being able to interact with the legendary gem system and having your progression be kind of like really like crunched because of that later on doesn't feel as good. So I have high hopes for this game. I really enjoy it, and I would love to see more people be able to play and enjoy it. I think that's like one of the ways to do it is to remove that ember cap first of all. There's other things to do too, but I think a lot of things are actually pretty good. Like I said, I just want this game to be treated like it's a real game and not just a way to extract money because I think that it actually doesn't need to be that. I think it could be a really good game. But anyway, that's my build at the moment. I think we went over it all. Went over my individual items, went over my legendary gems, went over my legendary powers, went over my set pieces. Once again, all of the actual stats and stuff will change over time, but locked in legendary powers is good. Recommended set items is good. Your gems will vary depending on where you're at, what you got. Skill choices are up to you. Like I said, I've played this with Wrath of the Berserker instead of Sprint. I've played it with Wrath of the Berserker instead of Charge, and I still go back to all this. There are other builds to play as well, but we'll go over those eventually. Paragon tree, recommend gladiator eventually, but that's where we're at for now. We'll call it here. Got to get to the gym. Got to get some work done today. But hopefully that's a fairly comprehensive build guide for you guys. Having a blast with this game. Hopefully you guys are too. Excited for the future of the game. Would love for it to become more free-to-play friendly so that the game can have a bustling ecosystem of players all having a good time. And we'll see how it goes. Thanks for watching. Peace.